Thank you, Robert. I'm very honored to be speaking here. And I am a Palestinian American author, unfortunately, and I'm a former scientist. My book tells the story of Palestine through narrating my childhood in the occupied West Bank and my experience in the diaspora in America, and especially at this time, that's a very difficult thing. I commend this effort to bring urgent assistance to Gaza and to aid its recovery. A year of Israel's brutal genocide, and Gaza survives, but barely. The bombs must stop now. And I'm going to come back to this point. As someone who lived the Palestinian experience and reflected upon it, I offer a few recommendations. First, we must remember Gaza's children. The sight of an unaccompanied little child wandering among the ruins, looking for parents that will never return, has sadly become too commonplace. The numbers of orphans, missing children, and child amputees are shocking. The last time I checked, it was in the tens of thousands for each category. The world has a responsibility towards these children beyond the basics of food, shelter, and medical care. For instance, the international cooperation is required to combat child trafficking. Furthermore, all of Gaza's million children are severely traumatized from a year of bombing, displacement, and death. And this follows on the previous comment by Ibtisam Barakat. Provision of mental health services to survivors is a priority no less critical than vaccines. The second thing, and it's related to this point, Gaza needs to heal. And the best way of healing is empowerment. From our collective experience during and after the Nakba, we know that people will not heal from handouts, but from their own involvement in the recovery and rebuilding. And that's important also because to us, Gaza is now hallowed ground. We have human remains of people's loved ones under the rubble. So the people of Gaza have to be the ones to decide what to do with their homes and lands, whether and where they want to rebuild. The future of Palestine must rest in the hands of its people. The Palestinian people, whether in Gaza, the West Bank, or the diaspora, possess the talent needed to administer an aid or recovery plan. So this initiative must respect and support the sovereignty of Palestinians over their lands and natural resources. In that spirit, we must promote Palestinian unity, not only factional unity, but geographical one. Communication and movement throughout the Gaza Strip to Egypt and to the West Bank are essential to the success of any aid mission. And that involves diplomatic pressure on the different parties. Similarly, we must support and work with the indigenous organizations that are already there delivering aid. They have the people and resources in place and acutely understand the local needs. Third, and this point is very often forgotten, we must remember that Gaza was once a food exporter. Gaza exported oranges and tomatoes and dates to the world until a 17-year siege and Israeli control of exports has forced it to depend on the aid trucks. During the past year, and I remember from my own childhood in the 80s, most of our produce used to come from Gaza. So during the past year, Israel has systematically destroyed Gaza's farmlands and orchards, forcing further dependence on external aid. So an important element of an aid proposal will include an environmental part. We must help rebuild the farms and restore their soil so Gaza can become self-sufficient again. Finally, to reiterate, the bombs must stop now. For any aid mission to succeed, the sanctity of humanitarian aid workers must be respected. This means accountability for the hundreds of aid workers that Israel has targeted and assassinated. The same applies to journalists and all other professionals who are putting their life in danger to serve. The UN General Assembly has recently called for an end to Israel's unlawful occupation of Jerusalem, the West Bank, and Gaza. After all they have suffered, the people of Gaza deserve no less than the full implementation of this resolution. Thank you very much.